Hello everyone, it's Joy Holden here, ready and willing to read more poems to you. I'm going to stick with the theme of humour, and I'm starting with a Hilaire Belloc poem. I've read some before. Hilaire Belloc liked to write these long poems that were humorous, but had a moral tale to them about children should behave properly. And a bit darkly, he often has the children being burned to death or eaten by lions. So here's another one that's eaten by a lion. It's called Jim, who ran away from his nurse and was eaten by a lion. There was a boy whose name was Jim. His friends were very good to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam and slices of delicious ham and chocolate with pink inside and little tricycles to ride, and read him stories through and through, and even took him to the zoo. But there it was, the dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. You know, at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children never are allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. Now this was Jim's especial foible. He ran away when he was able, and on this inauspicious day he slipped his hand and ran away. He hadn't gone a yard when bang, with open jaws, a lion sprang, and hungrily began to eat the boy, beginning at his feet. Now just imagine how it feels when first your toes and then your heels, and then by gradual degrees your shins and ankles, calves and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. No wonder that he shouted, "Hi!" The honest keeper heard his cry. Though very fat, he almost ran to help the little gentleman. "Ponto," he orders as he came, for Ponto was the lion's name. "Ponto," he cried with angry frown. "Let go, sir. Down, sir. Put it down." The lion made a sudden drop. He let the dainty morsel drop, and slunk reluctant to his cage, snarling with disappointed rage. But when he bent him over Jim, the honest keeper's eyes were dim. The lion having reached his head, the miserable boy was dead. When nurse informed his parents, they were more concerned than I can say. His mother, as she dried her eyes, said, "Well, it gives me no surprise. He would not do as he was told." His father, who was self-controlled, bade all the children round attend to James's miserable end, and always keep a hold of nurse, for fear of finding something worse. A poem by John Betjeman. John Betjeman has a light-hearted look at the local vicars who first appeared in the Poems in the Porch in 1954. That's the year I was born, along with Diary of a Church Mouse, and I've read that to you on previous occasions. So John Betjeman had a wry sense of humour and often wrote about things that were very English and very rural. So here we have the poem Blame the Vicar. When things go wrong, it's rather tame to find we are ourselves to blame. It gets the trouble over quicker to go and blame things on the vicar. The vicar, after all, is paid to keep us bright and undismayed. The vicar is more virtuous too than lay folks such as me and you. He never swears, he never drinks, he never should say what he thinks. His collar is the wrong way round, and that is why he's simply bound to be the sort of person who has nothing very much to do, but take the blame for what goes wrong, and sing in tune at even song. For what's a vicar really for, except to cheer us up? What's more, he shouldn't ever tell if there is such a place as hell, for if there is, it's certain he will go to it as well as we. The vicar should be all pretence and never give offence. To preach on Sunday is his task, and lend his mower when we ask, and organise our village fetes, and sing at Christmas with the waits, and in his car to give us lifts, and when we quarrel, heal the rifts. To keep his family alive, he should industriously strive. In that enormous house he gets, and he should always pay his debts. For he has quite £6 a week, and when we're rude he should be meek, and always turn the other cheek. He should be neat and nicely dressed, with polished shoes and trousers pressed, for we look up to him as higher than anyone, except the squire. Dear people who have read so far, I know how really kind you are. I hope that you are always seeing your vicar as a human being, making allowances when he does things with which you don't agree. But there are lots of people who are not so kind to him as you. So in conclusion you shall hear about a parish somewhat near, perhaps your own or maybe not, and of the vicars that it got. One parson came and people said, Alas, our former vicar's dead, and this new man is far more low than dear old Reverend so-and-so, and far too earnest in his preachings. We do not really like his teaching. He seems to think we're simply fools who've never been to Sunday schools. That vicar left, and by a new one came. He's much too high, the people said, too like a saint. His incense makes our Mavis faint. So now he's left, and they're alone, without a vicar of their own. The living's been amalgamated with one next door they've always hated. That's very old school, that poem. And that's it for now. It was lovely reading to you, and I look forward to reading again to you soon. Bye for now from Joy Holden.